Marcus Johnson on. Marcus, so I know you're out there in the Valley of the Sun. Who are they blaming for the Suns not advancing in the finals? Is coaching? Is it Ayton? Is it Booker? Who's the big person they're blaming out there?
I mean, mostly it's CP3. I think CP3 not showing up and not being able to play defense, to be a defensive liability, and just having. I mean, all they did was put like a 6'5" guy on him, and it was kind of over from that point. You know, it wasn't. It's mostly him. I mean, I know Devin Booker didn't show up Game 7, but you know, CP3's catalyst. He makes the plays and he sets everything up, and then Ayton. Ayton's just frustrating altogether to me because they had nobody really could guard him if he wanted to be tough. Yeah, and he didn't want to be tough. So, I mean, the Suns just choked, man.
It's tough. It was tough.
I know. It was tough. I know. Look at it. It's like
it's tough. Next thing, real quick, did you happen to see the PFF's top 10 coaches?
I did. Yeah.
So I don't think like top 3, they had one with Belichick, John Harbaugh. They had this whole like algorithm thing they had to figure it out. And they had Andy Reid at 3. 4, you got Kingsbury at 4, you got LaFleur at 6. Like it's kind of it's just McCarthy at 10. Like I don't even see Tomlin on this list on the top 10. So it's they doing the most right now. I think
it's too much math in football right now for me. Sometimes there's a lot of math right now. And there's nothing wrong with analytics, and I hate saying that because I've always been an analytics guy for most of my adult life, or just being into sports since I've been a kid. I've always liked deep diving into stats, but it's just too much math, man. Like too many algorithms.
Yeah, I gotta have a computer tell me that Kingsbury is the 4th best quarterback. If I gotta do all that, I don't know. I don't want that computer. I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't want that computer. That's all.
Exactly.
All right. So all to the Raiders here. The off season is the June 1st thing has happened. You still got some pieces out there. Sue is out there. Maybe they'll do something like that. But what kind of taking an overview of the whole offseason, what are some of the biggest things that you love about this offseason, and what are some opportunities the Raiders still have?
I think they solidified the offense for the future. I mean, we pretty have a good idea of what the offense is going to look like going forward. I mean, I think they even added an option where if Adams gets older, they could draft somebody, right? Yeah. That can replace him, and that can, that doesn't have to demand targets early. That Adams can still take the targets, Waller can still take the targets, Renfro can still take the targets too. But while that guy develops, he can start to take targets as you get into year 2 and year 3 with him, and then you can continue with Carr or whatever is happening at that moment. But I think it gives him so much leeway with the offense, getting all these players under contract, because then you can draft guys and they don't have to play right away. You can develop offensive players a lot easier, I believe. So I think just this outlook, we have an offense. We know what the offense is going to be for the next 3 years. Maybe the offensive line maybe not be solidified, but we know there's going to be Darren Waller, there's going to be Devontae Adams, there's going to be Hunter Renfro, right? Hopefully I think they're going to lock up Waller next. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So I see that's the future right now.
That makes sense. I'm sure people are waiting. If they don't sign Waller, everybody's going to have that Clutch Sports screwed it up paper article coming out as soon as that happens. What's up with the opportunities here? I mean, I know there's some weaknesses on every team. What do you feel like they could still get better at?
I mean, corner is going to be interesting. We don't know how that's going to look. I think Patrick Graham believes that the corners he has are going to be solid enough that he's going to be able to work around it, and I think he's going to be dependent on the defensive line. But I'm a little bit worried about the inside of the defensive line too. That's you brought talk about Sue and players like that. That's kind of something they should look at, in my opinion, because they need to do something inside. I think outside, you got Chandler Jones, you got Crosby. I think Farrell missed an opportunity. He could have put on some weight. I mean, he's 270 pounds. He could have put on some weight to kind of move inside a little bit, to me, to be more permanent there, instead of trying to play defensive end a little bit. I mean, there's an opportunity for him there. If you get up to 285, man, he could be fine inside. Get that to that size, and it's only about 13 pounds he puts on. So I think he missed the opportunity there, but I think those are the two holes. Is like the question is the secondary, how good is that could really going to be, and the big holes inside at defense tackle. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, is Bilal Nichols going to just become a superstar? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Abram was a little in the press conference. He was a little bit snippy at the media. I think he really. I think, and I that's fine. I mean, that's that's how he is. But do you feel like he can play in this defense after watching it on film? Is he gonna be able to play deep, or are they gonna have to have him play closer to the line of scrimmage where everybody thinks that's where he lives?
I think he's gonna play down linebacker. I think they're not gonna overthink it. I think he's playing too high right now, but what does that really mean? It's just practice. I mean, are they gonna be playing too high all the time anyways? I still think they're going to play a lot of cover 3. I don't think he's going to try to change the wheel too much. They might disguise it. They're not going to just be like Gus Bradley where it was just, it was single high. They're going to disguise it. There's going to be guys moving around, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot more cover 3 than we're thinking. It's not going to be like cover 4, cover 6 type of stuff. I think he's going to try to keep it simple from that aspect. And that's why I expect, Abram kind of be used like he was last year. I mean, last year he was effective. He was a solid player. I mean, a lot of people, you see the low lights. He's getting
beating coverage.
But we don't see all the highlights of him making plays, blitzing, and all that stuff.
The tackles. I mean, wasn't there a time during the season where he was leading defensive backs in tackles?
Yeah, and
out of the league. Yeah, so
and he's not coming downhill. I mean, he's playing up in the line of scrimmage. So. And he's taking on tight ends and stuff like that. I think he's an effective, solid player. I just think that's why it's so feisty. I think he's just tired of the media saying that he sucks when he doesn't. He does because he doesn't suck.
Yeah.
He's a solid player. He's just not. He's not. I don't know. He's whatever.
He's not Simmons.
He's not Jesse Bates.
Everybody Nature's like keep tweeting Bates Motel. I'm like, dude. So they're not. He can't hold out. You can't hold out anymore because the money is just too big. You lose. So I mean, he can hold out all day, but he's going to show up for the Bengals. He's not getting traded to the Raiders.
He's not getting traded. Come on,
come on.
That would be awesome, but
that'd be great. But it's not going to happen. It's not Madden. Even Madden would reject that trade. As far as that goes. So Adams, I mean, obviously the play has been tremendous throughout his whole career. His boyhood team. His best friend. I mean, you can write the story in Hollywood if you want to, but I've heard a lot about him being 30. Would I hear that a lot if he was still in Green Bay? Probably not.
No.
But I'm hearing new system. I'm hearing all these other things. When Randy Moss went to New England, I mean, they found a way to fit him in, right? So I think great players are going to find a way to get the football. What are your thoughts about the 30-year-old Davante Adams coming to the Raiders, and how are they going to be able to utilize him? Because I like your breakdown of what the Patriots like to do in the red zone. Or the pre-red zone, which I like. I think that when they had Hugh Jackson, the one thing I liked about Hugh Jackson was he didn't wait till they got inside the 20. He attacked the end zone from outside of the 20-yard line because there was more space. What are your thoughts about those things with Davante Adams?
I think with I'll start with the thing over 30. I think that's just super overblown, and I think it's kind of just an excuse, kind of knocking the Raiders. But before I even got into Raiders media, I was one of those people like, oh, the media is not really against the Raiders, but then you get into it and you're kind of like some of the things they talk about, because Keenan Allen's 30, over 30. Khalil Mack didn't finish the season last year. He's 31. He hasn't finished it. He hasn't finished the season like 2 years.
Yes.
He's 31. You don't hear about him being his age. He's the superstar, the best team in football, best roster.
Oh God. Yes.
Right. So yes. We don't hear that, and we all hear about is Davante Adams, and he's 30 and he's coming off his best season. So it's weird. Like Keenan Allen's had a down year. He's 30. He might be 31. He's turned 31. He's down year. Not. I wouldn't say it's a down year. It's just not. He didn't finish the year like he wanted to. Mm-hmm. Khalil Mack didn't even finish last year. He didn't finish the year before, I don't think. And that's kind of thing with the age. I just ignore that. I see him on tape. He's still good ball, and he's good ball for like at least 2 or 3 years. I mean, I don't know how that's going to fade off the way he wins. So that's going to be fine. And, you know, you talking about the attacking the red zone. I think he's going to be a red zone monster. I'm just thinking Michael Crabtree. If you guys thought Michael Crabtree was great with Derek Carr, this is going to be that times 50 to me. I mean, like just the fade, just kind of like the fades and stuff. You know, if somebody comes up and presses Devontae Adams, he's getting the ball. You know what I mean?
So it's automatic.
It's automatic.
It's automatic. It's automatic.
And sorry, just to add in before you, just based on the way the system is designed, if you come up and press Devontae Adams, he's going there because this is how the system is designed. So yeah, it's going to be fun to watch these guys.
And I think also too is when I'm watching on film too, it's not like these teams are putting their third and fourth corners on them. Like, I mean, they're putting like their best guys on him, and he's still been able to do what he needs to do. And he's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. You know where the ball is going. I mean, the game in San Francisco last year, I mean, you don't think they knew the ball was going there? I mean, it wasn't like Lazard is going to light you up. Like, you know what I mean? Like they see still just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's all-time great. I mean, why is that so hard to say? Because he's wearing silver and black? I don't get it.
Exactly. That is so weird. And then you got Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, so you really can't double team him. You can't double team him.
You can't.
Because I was watching the Rams game, and I mean, if Jalen Ramsey wasn't on him, oh man, there's like 5 guys on him. So if you don't have a Jalen Ramsey, right, there's getting so much attention. I mean, that's why I think Waller is going to lead his team in yards.
I was thinking the same thing too. If he stays healthy, he should be doing that as well. Do you feel like, I know some people have made this mention, they feel like who's going to be the speed receiver on this team? Do they need a speed guy, just to, not even somebody who can, like, who's going to, because like obviously the bulk of the targets are going to go to Waller, Renfrow, and Devontae Adams, but a guy who can just take the top off a little bit when they need to. Can Keenan Cole do that? Can Marcus Robinson do that? I mean, Robinson, people think Robinson's a burner because he played with Kansas City, but that's not, I don't think that's his game really.
Yeah. I see. I think he's a little faster. When I watched the tape, he's a little faster than I thought. But he always interests me because of, like, you were on a team that passed the ball 700 times a year, and nobody passed you the ball. So that's what I was thinking. Why is Dwayne passing you the ball? But go back to Keenan Cole. I'm really intrigued by Keenan Cole. He doesn't drop the football. He's like Nelson Aguilar, but doesn't drop the ball.
Yep.
So he can get open, right? And I think that's when you have, you know, that's a thing with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, somebody has to get open. He can give him the football, right? Yeah. And Keenan Cole, he can get open. I think he can win deep too. He could be that type of guy. He can win deep. I mean, maybe he's not like, you know, Henry Ruggs winning deep. I mean, he might not get the 70-yard touchdowns, but you can get some good 40-yard chunks and, you know, some good post routes and stuff like that where he can win. So.
Yeah, I was just on a roundtable discussion, but with the AFC West last week, and the questions I had about Kansas City is like, if you are Nicole Hardman and you're DeMarcus Robinson, with all the attention that's paid to Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, I asked the Chiefs guy, like, why are you so confident that like he's going to be able to get open now? When, you know, I mean, because he couldn't do it last, because Coleman couldn't really. I thought he would make a mark on that team in the previous years, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with Kansas City. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see here. So Renfrow, Waller, and Adams, that's clean. You like Cole for that. As far as when you did your fumbles breakdown on Derek Carr, obviously, I mean, one of them was the blind side pressure. What basically the key. So, you know, obviously Colton Miller has been a staple ever since the Raiders have picked him up. So, you know, still, like, you know, do you feel, obviously this coaching staff is pretty confident that, like, with the lack of offensive moves, they're saying that they have enough people up front and they just need better coaching. Because it's pretty, I mean, because let's be honest, I mean, and I'll have you elaborate on it, but like, he's not going to have a bad offensive line blow up his offense.
No, that was the most interesting part of the offseason too, is that they kept the offensive line. Well, and when that happened, you know, I kind of went back and I looked at it, and during the 4-game winning streak, they were above average, like across the board. I mean, pass pro, and run blocking. And you could think like offensive line continuity, right? Maybe that's what they're thinking. They're thinking,
maybe.
Right? The offensive line, keep this five together. They work together. They learned together last year. They're young. There might be some pieces there, but it's more like, okay, you're putting Leatherwood at right tackle. So that means you're kind of moving things around a little bit. So you want to put Leatherwood back where you think he should be, right? Or probably where they thought when they graded him last year, where they thought they would take him, because I'm sure, I mean, Alabama guy, all the things, all the credits, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. I'm sure there was a thing about Alex Leatherwood with them last year too, because they needed a right tackle. I mean, they depended on Trip Brown, but still, this Trip Brown, we all know that. So Alex Leatherwood, they probably had an idea of what they wanted with him, and they're going to play him at right tackle. But I still think they have Brandon Parker there and might move him back just to keep that continuity. But I still think the left side, which is interesting, because when they drafted Parham, I thought Andre James is done, but he's playing, starting all through the OTAs. So we'll see how that goes. But I thought the left side was good. It was really good the other year. I mean, the right side was kind of average, but as a whole, they're above average. So it makes sense, but then it doesn't. But then it does. So
you think Simpson beats out Illuminar?
It's gonna be tough. I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know how they feel about Simpson. I can't trust the media, because the media loves Denzel Good, and I don't think Denzel Good's gonna play. So I don't know how much that he solidified as a starter, like the media, like a lot of the radio media wants him to be. So I don't know about that, but I think they're gonna give Simpson a shot just because his athleticism and how big he is. I think they're gonna give him a shot. It's interesting where Parham goes, because I heard he was working at right guard the other day, and it was actually Miller, Simpson, James, Parham, and Leatherwood, and then Parker mixing in. So that might be it.
Yeah. I do like the pick of Parham too as well. So so that should help out a lot in the red zone. That's where the Raiders obviously struggled last year. They want to get better. This is the one thing throughout the years. I lived in Connecticut for a big part of my life, and I moved out here. And one thing I knew about the Patriots is they would dink and dunk, but when they got to the red zone, they always score touchdowns. So that's what they do. Like verticals, play action fake, whip routes. You remember like the concept of the Utah concept, stuff like that. Like what are the vertical routes, the four verticals is something that they like a lot too as well, because it puts the safety in a big bind. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean the four verticals is gonna be really key. I mean with Darren Waller, I think especially inside that type of area, especially like the 25. Even one thing they call it the fringe, so they're 40 and up. Yeah. So I mean, kind of the red zone. I mean, I think you mentioned this a little bit earlier. The red zone for them starts a lot earlier, called the fringe. So you get to the 40. I mean, that's really where the red zone starts. And that's when you start attacking. They're going to try to hit a lot of bigger plays. And a lot of their deep concepts come in that area called the fringe. So I think that's where they're going to attack early. But I think with the red zone, I think Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow are going to have a big year. And they're going to try to isolate them a lot, because combined last year, they had 19 touchdowns combined as a red zone. On separate teams, Hunter Renfrow had 9, and Devontae Adams had 10. So they have 19 touchdowns right there coming into this year, right? So I think those two are going to get featured in the red zone. I believe they're going to kind of mix it up. You can't double team them at this point, because what happened last year is when Renfrow started scoring touchdowns like crazy, people just started double teaming them in the red zone, and then that ended. Right. But now, I mean, you got Devontae Adams. You can't really defend him. You're gonna be more worried about Devontae Adams in the red zone. So I think Hunter Renfrow is gonna eat up down there too a lot, and I think that's gonna help the red zone on a whole. It's just those two guys and having a lot more options down there that could win.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm running the football. I remember when we talked to your partner BD one day, and we were talking about red zone stuff, and he was like, you guys didn't mention how much they sucked running the football. Typical BD fashion, right? They have to get better at it. I'm thinking in my head, and just let me know if I'm going crazy, is that you have Devontae, you have Waller, you have Renfro on the field at the same time. And then when it's time to run the football, you should be able to run the football with Josh Jacobs, who in the last 4 games really, and I mean the game against Cincinnati, I mean that big run doesn't get called back. I mean, who knows how that game pans out. We thought about the way he wants to run the football in these games, because I think in the first game of the year, that might not be a game to have Renfro and Waller, Renfro and Adams on the fantasy team. I mean, it might be the running backs in that game.
Yeah, that's what I expect. I hope the Chargers are getting ready for Devontae Adams and not getting ready for Josh Jacobs, because that's what I think they're going to get a big dose of that game. What's interesting about last year with the red zone is that they ran the ball better than they did ever before in the red zone. They just didn't run the ball in the red zone last year. I don't know. Greg Olsen has some kind of thing with, I don't know what that's about, but he didn't run the ball very well. Josh Jacobs had issues the year before, but I thought he got better there last year, and he was better inside the 5. So I hope that momentum carries into this year, and we have a better play caller who's actually going to run the ball down there.
Yeah,
because the Bengals game, the playoff game, I thought was ridiculous. It still bothers me. I mean, Derek Carr set a record for pass attempts in the red zone. It's never been done. He's threw 17 passes. It's a recipe for losing.
Yeah.
So I just hope, that never happens again. That's just, and that's what I want to see. Just somebody who actually wants to try to run the ball down there.
Yeah.
I think that I'd rather them fail a little bit and then figure it out and then get to passing. But, I like their passing concepts down there a lot. So it works out.
Yeah, it should be interesting down there as well. So AFC West, I mean, everybody, it was like for like 2 weeks, it was like everybody making moves left and right. I just want to hear what you feel about the Los Angeles Chargers, because by all accounts, we should not play the season because I mean, I'm not sure. And I'm not trying to dog out Mac, who I respect. I'm not trying to dog out Bosa. Bosa almost, won the game last year. The Raiders didn't recover that fumble on that strip sack. I mean, who knows? It could be the Chargers going into the playoffs. But J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, they have some talented pieces. What are your thoughts about the Chargers going forward here? Because I just, it just seems like they want to really put Herbert on that throne.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is Herbert. A lot of the buzz around the Chargers is Herbert. I mean, I don't think people are really looking at the roster as a whole. They're not looking at the roster. They just think Justin Herbert's going to do it, which, it's interesting. We throw the word around elite, but, elite with quarterbacks, let's keep it real. It's about winning. The elite quarterbacks, they're the winners, and he hasn't won anything to have that label. So that's kind of my thing with him is, the elite guys they're playing the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just, historically.
Do elite guys lose to, who was it? Basaccia in a winner take all?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how good the comeback was. That's my type of thing with him. But I think everybody just wants him to be that guy, and that's a lot of the buzz on the Chargers, because their roster really is not that much different than last year, and they still got Joe Lombardi, who I think is terrible. That's really why I laugh at him, because I don't think
if you need a short pass though, he got you.
He's got to shoot, and I just like their deep concept is the same bootleg to the right, and Justin Herbert throws across, like they do it like every game. It's the same 4 deep concepts. So I think they are a little arrogant. I think Brandon Staley's a little arrogant. I think he's too analytical. He can't see that Joe Lombardi's not good because they're 4th in DVOA. It's things like that I think might come back and bite the Chargers a little bit, but we'll see. Maybe they're good, but I just don't see how they got better. I think they got better, but they didn't get like
on 3rd and long.
The Rams got better. The Rams, yeah. Allen Robinson.
Yeah. Exactly. I know Allen Robinson is incredible. I think 3rd and long they got better. I could say that 3rd and long. Yeah. You got Bosa and Matt come off the edge. But we'll see what happens. Here's my thing about Staley is, so he went for it on his own 19-yard line, right? And I hate when teams go for it on their own, like deep in their territory, and they don't use their best player. They ran the football. I'm like, I'm not sure what were you thinking about when you ran the football in that spot? You're not a running football team.
That goes back to the whole analytical thing, right? Who's the play caller? So yeah, we could the analytics 4th and 1, right?
Yeah.
But who's the play caller?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I know you're right. And then when Mike Williams, my heart stopped when Mike Williams scored with 1 second left, because I was like, oh, they're gonna go for 2. Because to me, I probably would have went for 2 in that spot, only because it's the Raiders have been on the field this whole fourth quarter, gasping for air, 20 million 4th down converted. Why not just, give your quarterback a chance to go win the game there? They didn't, and they ended up losing the game in overtime. They kicked the extra point, and they're weird. They're a weird team. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see what happens. We get the Raiders get them right out the gate. But yeah, I don't know, man. People really think that this is going to be. I mean, you got people picking them to go like, what was it, 14-3 and whatever record
Super
is.
Bowls, and they're going to Super Bowl MVP, and the buzz around them is crazy. That's why I just hope the Raiders kick their butt.
The first one, yeah, that'd be nice.
It is, that would just make my whole first.
I think I actually have tweets saved for that, so hopefully.
Me too, man. I can't wait. I really hope it happens. I really hope.
I might. It's gonna be hard for. It's gonna be hard for me. It's gonna be hard for me not to go to that game too, because it's only 90 minutes from my house. So it's gonna be so hard for me not to go there. But sometimes I like going to. I like staying home to watch the game, so I can just like take notes and everything like that. But like, yeah, it's just it's gonna be tough. The Chiefs.
Yes.
We know how good Mahomes is. Up and down year last year. Your thoughts about? Okay, so here's my question: Can Patrick? He's capable of doing it, but can he be patient enough to take the dump downs and the shorter stuff when he can't just kind of run around and move his feet a little bit to go over the top? Because I don't think they have that over the top weapon on this team right now.
I think he got better at it last year. I mean, we'll see. I mean, his instinct is always going to be to run. I mean, you can try to make him that type of quarterback, but he's never going to be that type of quarterback fully. So, I mean, his thing is he's going to have to do that more often. But let's say this, okay? I mean, the Chiefs, they really don't have a good roster, right? They're trying to Dan Marino him, which I don't like. Even though I like Patrick Mahomes, so I don't like how they're kind of just go do it, like.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 team. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 Mahomes.
Right. And so he might be in desperation mode all year, because if when he gets desperation mode, he's gonna run. He's gonna try to make plays. Yeah. And that might be his problem all year, is he's gonna try to save the day. And some games he might save the day, and some games he might not save the day. So that's what I think his issue is, because that team is not. I don't. If you just think about that team, like Travis Kelce, but he's a little older. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, on defense, they lost Matthew. I guess they got Chris Jones still.
It's funny how I can tell you, if the Raiders had picked up Juju Smith-Schuster, oh my goodness.
It's like,
yeah, I know.
I just don't know what's over there, but I feel like that he might try to. I don't know. I feel like he's going to keep them in it though.
Oh yeah, no question about it. Do you feel like? I mean, they do have They look like they have a good offensive line. Like, do you? Yeah. I mean, could Andy just like?
No, you don't even think about
it. Don't even say he's gonna run the football. Dude, he does not run. I mean, like, if there was a year where he could like try to run the football and play a little play action, this would be the season, right?
The Bengals, they just put 3 guys on the line.
I know, I saw that.
They were up like 24-3. They were down 24-3. So you're down 24-3, and you're like, I'm gonna play 3 guys on the line. I'm not gonna worry about the run. That's just kind of calling somebody out. And then the guy doesn't run the ball.
Yeah,
he has Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey and Wyatt and Wyatt guy. Wow.
It's bad. And then just blame, and then at the end of the day, just blame the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Just blame the enemy. Doesn't matter. That's all that matters. So let's. So here's my thing. So I go to. I've been a bunch of different, but Twitter Spaces is fun. So like I always kind of dip into other teams' Twitter Spaces sometimes, and I went to one early this offseason, and it was right before the Raiders had got Adams and Chandler Jones. but everybody was saying, you know, oh, the Broncos, and they got Russell Wilson, and I was just like, I asked somebody in Twitter space who's the defensive coordinator, and nobody could say his name. And somebody said, "Oh, he's from the Rams. He's a stud." I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, that I guess that's how it works.
Exactly.
That's how it works. So first year, I start with the defense with the Broncos. First year defensive coordinator, Carr, Mahomes, Herbert. I think that's a tough spot. And plus, obviously, that's the side of the ball people are going to blame if the Broncos aren't good.
Yeah, I don't think you make a good point. Like they lost their linebackers. Yeah. I don't think they have.
Shelby Harris was a huge loss.
Yeah, well, yeah, is what I'm saying. They don't have a pass rush really. They got Kareem Jackson back. They got that secondary still there. Surtain probably going to take another leap. The other guy over there, they still lost Callahan. They still Ojimidas. They're just very meh on the defense. They kind of have just as many holes as you would be worried about the Raiders. If you're worried about the Raiders defense, you'd be way more worried about the Broncos defense. So it's nothing that would scare you. They don't have something that I don't understand why people like picking them to have the best roster and like the fifth best roster.
Why? What are they watching when they say they have the best roster?
It's the quarterback. We're all quarterbacks right now. Like
it's a lazy take. Such a lazy take. It's just so lazy. It's so lazy.
It really is because top to bottom, because that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these rosters in the AFC West, I even think that I've said this before. I think the AFC West is a little overrated if you look at the rosters as a whole. If you go like, okay, the wide receivers, linebackers, defense. If you just went like down the line,
yeah.
Sebastian Joseph Day, okay, that's cool, I guess. But it's like
but I tell you, Charger fans, I was in Charger spaces, and they think that dude is gonna stop every running game in the AFC West. I'll tell you right now, it's unbelievable, dude.
That's what I'm saying. But that's like Richard Nichols, right? It's like giving Nichols to me, like Sebastian Joseph Day. He started to play a little bit more, but it's not like some dominant defense tackle. And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of these rosters aren't that good, and it's very quarterback centric. And I think Russell Wilson, and if Raiders fans aren't scared of him for some reason, I think we're more scared of Justin Herbert than Russell Wilson. And my opinion, I watch Russell. I think he's definitely a lot more scary than I want to give credit for. I just hope they can't run the ball, because if they can run the ball, they're going to be hard to stop on offense.
They're hard to stop, yeah. And then that defense stays off the field a lot too as well. Do you want? I know Cole can play. He has some experience at punt returning. Do you want to risk Renfro returning punts anymore?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I was thinking about that too, and I was like, I just really don't want that dude doing any of that anymore. As far as that goes. So, last thing before I let you go, what do you feel about who should they go out there and get right now probably in the free agent market? I don't know what Sue wants. If I can just sign Waller and get Sue, I'd be good to go as far as that goes. But they do need somebody up front. I do like Jonathan Hankins, gets to run, but he's not going to give you much pass rush. But on fourth down, they need some inside rush. If they just get a little of that, then obviously it makes Jones and Crosby even better.
Yeah. Maybe they're hoping on Matthew Butler and those guys being really good. I don't know what they're doing over there, but Sue is a big guy on my target. I think they should bring him in, work it out with Waller, because if they adjust Waller, they can push his money back, and extend it so they can still sign Sue, because, Sue's guy, he's going to want like 13, 12 million.
He is. And he's made a lot of money in his career. He knows what he's doing, dude. I don't know who his agent is, but he knows what he's doing. He's always on a good team, and he always signs a big time contract. So
exactly.
Yeah. So
another guy, just Dante Hightower still out there.
Yeah,
that's a big one for me. And a secret guy is Emmanuel Sanders. I don't think he's signed.
You mentioned that. So you would like okay. So fill me in on this part of it, because I didn't catch the whole entire show. I remember you just saying that. Like what does Emmanuel Sanders bring to the Raiders if he came to the Raiders? You want him over like an OBJ or something like that, or would you if they had money OBJ?
No, not over OBJ. Like,
OBJ
was like,
that'd be crazy if they got OBJ, but that'd be crazy.
But like over Keenan Cole, I think Sanders would be an upgrade over him. I think he'd be a legitimate outside receiver that you don't expect him to get like 50 catches, but there's a couple of plays a game where Sanders still gets open, man. It's not like he's not getting open. He's still winning deep. He's 35.
Yeah. Yeah. 35 years old. Yeah.
Right. And that's all I needed to see. He's still winning deep. He's 35. I think at the end of the year, Gabe Davis was with the Bills, and he was killing it.
Oh my, he was destroying. I love what I was like. Who is? I had to go back and say, go back to my film. I was like, who is this kid? Because I was like, this dude was balling, man. It was killing it. I like that. I like it.
So when you have a second year player taking off like that, you have the 35-year-old receiver. He's going to lose his targets, but I still think there's a hole there. And then he's played in this offense in Denver. And then, Buffalo runs a version of it. Some people say like he mixed in West Coast a little bit, but Buffalo runs a version of it. So he has the language, so he can come in and he could help everybody else too. That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, on your a little pocket awareness, have you found a Josh Allen weakness yet? He's good, dude. Himself, he's just good. He's just good. It's really a shame that his coaching let him down in that playoff game, because they deserve to be in the championship game. They really did.
If he doesn't want to be stopped, you can't. Because what are you going to? I mean, you stop his arm, he'll just start running.
Yeah.
So it's all about to me, like his bad games is when he decided to be bad that day.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with what the team was doing.
That's not good. That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, he's a scared player, right? He's scared.
Yeah, he is. Like, I mean, like, listen, if the Raiders played him in the playoffs, I'd be happy to be in that game. But yeah, I know how good I do. I got all the respect. I mean, I watched that game probably 3 times at Kansas City, and I'm like, did these dudes ever? Did Sean McDermott ever play Madden? Like, I mean, you could common sense would have gotten you to win that game, but I don't know what they were doing.
The thing is with him, Dwayne, is if he can't pass in the playoffs, he's running for 200.
Yeah.
He's gonna run for 200.
He's gonna run for 200. I mean, he's like Cam Newton in his prime, but he can throw with anybody in the league. Like, the guy is.
Because that's what I would be scared. Even if they stopped him for passing, he'd be like, "Okay, I'm not passing today."
Yeah, but running. QB power. See ya. It's 40 yards. It's ridiculous, dude. And he takes shots and he gets up like he's Earl Campbell. It's ridiculous.
Especially in the playoffs, he be running people over.
Yeah, no, it's nuts, dude. It really he's nuts. He's nuts. Have you seen Kansas City's the first 6 games?
No, I have not.
So I will leave on this because we could probably go all day. But schedule 22 because this is the part of this year where I think we're gonna find out about the Chiefs really quickly, and you can find out why what their whole thing, what they're made out of here. So get out of the preseason. So they go at the Cardinals, the Chargers at home, at the Colts, at the Buccaneers, the Raiders, the Bills at home, and at San Francisco before a bye.
Yeah, I wonder how good Arizona's going to be. Man,
I hope they go. Listen, hope they're good in week 1. No.
Not week 2, right?
Not week 2, right? All right, brother.
All right, man. Chargers, man. But,
so
it's going to be a tough start for them, though.
It could be a tough start. We'll see what happens there. All right. From a little pocket awareness and Tape Don't Lie Raiders channel, Marcus Johnson, thank you for joining us here on the Put On Raiders podcast, and keep up the good work. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.